Great. So, welcome community to another AMA session, and today we have the we have Greek here from Forever Farm, and with me as well I have Greek, who's gonna be my co-host. Greek, do you want to say hi to Wick?
Hi, hello everybody. Hi Rick, how you doing today?
Hello, hello. Nice to chat with you. Doing well, thanks.
All right.
Awesome. So, community, in here we do have, AMAs. We do host AMAs, and it's always good for you to keep on doing your own research, no matter what's gonna be explained here. Make sure to always do your own research. It's very, very important. So let's go ahead to the reason why we are here, Forever Farm. So, before we go into that, Greg, do you want to introduce yourself to tell us who you are and how you got involved into the crypto space?
Of course. My name is Rick, obviously, right? Hence the Crypto Rick name. So I got in crypto in 2016. Absolutely fell in love with it. As soon as I started researching it, I was one of the same guys that was just smashing my head against the wall. Like, how did I wait so long to dig into this and figure out what it was all about? So definitely took some time for me to jump in. But then once I did, I jumped all the way in. I started making YouTube videos back in 2017, just kind of documenting my journey and trying to show other people why it was so exciting to me, what it really meant. And to me, it's all about the community aspect. It's about people taking control over their finances again, taking it away from those multi-billionaires that already control enough of the world. They don't have to control your personal finances as well. So there's a big aspect of it for personal freedom, right? There's another big aspect of it for just the ability to do exactly what we're doing right now. And that's talk to people from around the world that you would have never in a million years had a conversation with about anything. Yeah, if it wasn't for crypto, I wouldn't have met some of the best people in my life. So very, very passionate about the space in general. And very, I guess you could say knowledgeable now because I've forced myself to become knowledgeable. When you're passionate about something, it's easy to research. And this is one of the things you definitely need to research. You need to understand how things work. You need to understand how people work a little bit because especially in markets like this that we're seeing today, you got to be very, very careful because anybody can copy and paste a token. And there's a lot of people out there that have lost money and they're going to do desperate things. And one of those desperate things is to create projects and have all this hype and then unfortunately scam everybody. So I just try to go out and educate as much as I can in general about the space and simultaneously create some safe places for people to go and have some fun, do some investing, and know that they're at least not going to get rug pulled. We can't promise prices in this crazy market, right? But what we can do is promise that we're going to be here.
Something I like about you is whenever you introduce yourself, at the same time you try to encourage others, right? You try to let them know that the journey they're gonna be having is not gonna be easy, and you try to use your own experience to educate them. I think I mean, in my opinion, I feel like every project or owners out there should be able to do this because with investors, someday we're gonna have our own project as well, and we also want to be careful with the kind of project we invest in and stuff like that. I mean, I really love the fact that you brought out those points. So yeah, let's go down to Forever Farm. I know a lot of people are here curious what's Forever Farm, and stuff like that. So yeah, go ahead, tell us what's Forever Farm and how did you and your team come up with this idea?
Perfect. So in order to truly explain what Forever Farm is, I do want to take a second and just make sure everybody understands what DeFi is and really what it was supposed to be, because it's morphed into something very ugly and outside of what it was really intended for. So DeFi is decentralized finance. If you notice decentralized exchanges such as Uniswap and Pancake Swap and fill in the blank swap, right? Every swap out there, they all kind of are just forks of Uniswap. They all just copy Uniswap, but that's okay, right? So what that by nature was supposed to be a place where the community, the people could add liquidity to these projects. By the people adding liquidity to these projects, it means the project can't just go and disappear. If the guy owning the project got hit by a bus tomorrow, it wouldn't just go to zero because there's a community that's not just supporting it, but as actually financially controlling the health of the project. So at the core of DeFi, that's what it was. Now, where a couple problems come in is the rewards off things like Uniswap and Pancake Swap by themselves are not very good. Right, they're very, very low rewards. And if the token moons, you actually end up getting less and less of the token, which is called impermanent loss, right? Because everything's a ratio based. So as people are buying the tokens up from the exchange, it's actually increasing the amount of ETH or BNB or whatever it is that you have in your liquidity share, but it's decreasing the amount of tokens you have in your liquidity share. So that's the impermanent loss that everybody talks about when you're doing yield farming. So that was one of the big aspects of why it never really took off too much, and the APRs were pretty low. Then projects started getting creative and making third-party farming applications where they would actually supply some rewards to a farming pool, which would then be able to reward you for providing liquidity, and you would get additional tokens for doing so, which that would actually help you outrun that impermanent loss and get more tokens than you were losing, so to speak. So that was a really, really good win for the DeFi space, and it was a huge craze for a long time. It still is a very big thing. I mean, if you look at DEX tools right now, AFP, Animal Farm Pigs, it's the same type of thing. So they're just using the old school style of farming. So it's not a new feature, but one thing as a project owner that I did was I actually did the same thing. I was like, man, liquidity is so important. Let's do some farming pools. But quickly I got to see where the problems were. Number one problem was when you create a farming pool, you have to create the start block and you have to create the end block. You have to also send the amount of rewards that you want to send to that pool. And that's it. Like you can't adjust the start end or the amount of rewards or the rewards per block or any of that. It's all set in stone, which sounds okay until a project actually gains traction. And now you have a bunch of people putting liquidity in. And now the APR is shrinking to something that's not impressive anymore. So people start pulling liquidity out, selling, and going to the next thing, right? So I was scouring the planet, all the code I could read through to find a farming pool that was better, that was doing something that I envisioned as better. And as an entrepreneur, if you can't find something better, it's our duty to make something better. So that's what my team and I have really tried to do here with Forever Farm is create a place where we could have continuous rewards with updating APYs, with the ability to add more rewards as new farmers come on. So there's always healthy rewards with a pool that never ends and doing it without minting, right? Because the minting is a huge problem in the space. People can just mint as many tokens as they want, pay out high APYs, and the chart just goes down, 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 right? So we had to avoid that. So we don't mint any tokens. So Forever Farm actually uses some crazy tokenomics with our token contract as well as the farming contract that have been customized to work together. We built everything from scratch. So we are able to actually pull liquidity tokens, the tokens, not the BNB, out of the farm and send them over to the LP reward APY. So that makes it where if there's always a price pump as well as an APY pump. Now to kind of help with that, we also have an NFT out as well as an NFT game for those NFTs, which those NFTs drive buy pressure, drive utility of the project, drive buybacks of Forever Farm, and also increase the APY. So it's an entire ecosystem of things all working for the greater good of increasing the token price, increasing the liquidity, and ultimately increasing the rewards for the farmers out there. I know it's a lot.
Pretty amazing, and I actually love the way you break everything, break it down. But coming back to DeFi, I mean, we already had a conversation that we're gonna make sure we try to educate everybody here, and I also love the fact that you brought out the point about DeFi. And I have been having this idea in my mind that, I mean, given that DeFi is mostly unregulated, and it's a magnet for fraud, money laundering, and lacks of consumers safeguard that exist of traditional finance, right? So, or let's say, for example, in 2021, for instance, more than 10 billion was lost to DeFi scams, I think, according to research, right? So, I mean, what's your advice to people who might just be new to DeFi and with them having this idea in their mind that, oh, DeFi is not really kind of safe for me and stuff like that? I mean, what are you going to tell them today?
Yeah, the biggest thing is you gotta understand what you're getting into, right? If you're jumping into some meme coin with no use case and liquidity is locked for 6 days and all that, you have to understand what you're getting into. That's just, might as well sit down at the slot machine and waste your money there. At least you know you're wasting your money. So one of the things that I always look for is who's the team behind it? Are they willing to put their face out there? Are they willing to put their name out there? That's not enough. Right? That's just not enough, because we see a lot of scammers. They have nothing to lose. Also, what you have to do is try to find out what the utility is. Is there an actual utility outside of just one thing? What happens if that one thing doesn't work? Is there a secondary utility? There are going to be more utilities coming down the line. What types of partnerships are they able to do? There's a lot of things that you want to look at when you're looking at any project out right now. Right. And I think that the ultimate thing is when you see a developer in the space, you have to ask yourself, one thing I truly ask myself is, are they actually a developer? If something goes wrong, I should say, when something goes wrong, can they fix it? Or will they run off? Because that's usually what happens, right? That's usually what happens is anybody can come on right now, go on BSC scan and copy and paste the Forever Farm code. That's how easy it is to create a token. You just copy it from BSC scan, you paste it into Remix, and you hit a couple buttons, and now you have your own token. That's easy to make a token. That does not make you a developer. That does not mean you are ready, willing, and able to correct issues if they come up. So what happens is as soon as these guys have any sort of roadblock or stumble, they just pull the liquidity or sell their 1,000 extra wallets that they had or fill in the blank for the rug pull. They change their Telegram name. They copy and paste the token again with a different logo, and they start the process all over. So you need to ask yourself, are these things realistic? Are what they saying realistic? Are they telling me just buy now or you'll cry later and we're going to go 100x to the moon, blah, blah, blah? There's no substance to any of that. What you have to see is it sustainable? Can it actually be here in 2 weeks, 2 months, and 2 years? Who are the people behind it again? Have they done something with other projects that have been around for a considerable amount of time, right? So chances are if they have a project that's been out for a year or 2 years, they're probably not going to run away on this project, right? So understanding all the little things add up to one big picture. So there's not one thing, right? I see too many people relying on Token Sniffer and Monarch, all these tools out there that are just created and that are super generic. And yeah, you can have a safe contract that gets rugged still, right? It happens all the time. It happens all the time. You can also have a contract with features in it that quote unquote don't look safe, that never rug, that never scam, because it's the people behind it doing the right thing. So it's much more about the people in this space, in my opinion, than it is about the contract itself, unless there's an absolute flaw that can get hacked. In addition to that, when it comes to the hacks, that's a scary part, right? That's rough when you start seeing these chains and things like that starting to get hacked. So that's why I don't personally believe in cross-chain assets. I don't like cross-chain bridging and things like that for smaller projects, because that's usually where you're going to go ahead and get exposed, is utilizing the bridge. There's too many arbitrage opportunities and flash loan attacks and all sorts of things that can happen that are even above my level of expertise. So I try to make sure we look at all those opportunities, restrict them on our end, and make sure we're doing something as safe as possible.
100% agree with you, Wig. That's something I definitely love about Wig. I mean, he's ready to share out ideas about the space. I think, for how long have you been in the space so far, Wig? I think you said 5 years. Or something?
Over 6.5 years now. I got in May of 2016.
Wow. So I mean, it means that he definitely has much knowledge about the space, and I think Forever Farm is not his first project as well, so he definitely knows how things are being done here, especially more importantly in the BSS space. Talking about Forever Farm, I would like to break everything pretty little by little so that everybody can grasp what Forever Farm is all about. So we don't want to speak lots of English language and get even the newbies confused and stuff like that. So I would just like to go to the LP farming. What's the LP farming?
Basically, what LP farming is you actually can provide liquidity to any project on a decentralized exchange. So we use PancakeSwap. So you can actually take some Forever Farm tokens, you pair that with BNB, and you put that into our liquidity pool. And then PancakeSwap will give you what's called liquidity tokens. It's kind of like your receipt for doing that transaction. Farming, LP farming, is when you take those tokens that PancakeSwap gave you as the receipt, you utilize the DApp on the Forever Farm website, you stake those tokens, kind of put them in there, and then you start earning additional Forever Farm as a thank you for supporting the project, for increasing the liquidity, because the more liquidity a project has, the more stable the price can become. So that's ultimately what it's all about, is building stability and sustainability. So rewarding people for that through the LP farming is what it's all about.
Perfect. That's perfect. That's a great explanation. And what are the risks for this liquidity? What are the risks, and how can the investors here prevent themselves from not getting getting to lose a lot of funds from this and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think there's risk in everything we do here in crypto, right? So understanding that first and foremost is unbelievably important. There is no foolproof plan in crypto. There's a lot of people out there with a much larger brain and much more resources than any of us ever would dream of having. So with that in mind, you have to take calculated risks and make decisions that are less risky. So when you're providing liquidity, there's a couple risks. The inherent risk is impermanent loss. Okay, so what that means is as the price of the token increases, you'll continuously gain BNB, but you'll lose token value, meaning you're kind of missing out on some of the moon aspect of it. And that's why a lot of people don't like to provide liquidity. But that's why you don't just provide liquidity and sit on it. You provide liquidity and farm it. So now you're getting rewarded every single block in Forever Farm tokens, so you can still take advantage of the moon aspect that's happening as well. That's the largest risk when providing liquidity. Outside of that is if something can get hacked, right? PancakeSwap could get hacked, because we don't own your liquidity or anything like that. But PancakeSwap could get hacked one day. It's very, very unlikely, because I'm sure that they've had every single attack tried on them possible. But just understanding that anything is possible in this space. It doesn't mean PancakeSwap rugged or that they left. It just means that, hey, somebody was smarter than their developers. So understanding all those little aspects of it, and just accepting that there's risk in every single thing that you do. Every time you decide to put money onto a blockchain, there's associated risk with that. From there, you've got to make your calculated risks to make sure that your reward is outweighing your risk. The largest risk in the space is rugs. So outside of that, all the other risks are very, very small compared to that first risk. So that's why I try to avoid that first risk at all costs by not jumping into these themed projects or soccer this or Christmas Floki that. Yeah, you might see it go mooning on a chart, but we all know what's going to happen, right? It's just a matter of who's going to get stuck holding the bag and when, because they're just not made to last.
Isn't that amazing that there's risks in everything we do, and we get to see someone who is here to let us know that it's always good to make sure that we always do our own research. And when it comes to investing, in my own opinion, I feel like if you're not ready to lose fund, why invest? Why because I remember a couple of the days where most of my friends, I had to introduce them to crypto, and they wanted to invest in certain projects. I had to ask them, are you ready to lose this money? And stuff like that. If you're not ready to lose the money, then you shouldn't invest, because you don't want to involve your emotions when involved or when investing in some certain kind of project. So I agree with you 100% that there's risk in everything we do. It's not just all about Forever Farm. Let's take, for example, what happened to Luna. No one knew what's going to happen, right? So that's crypto for you and stuff like that. So, And in regards to the LP farming, we believe that there are lots of projects that has come up with this idea, trying to make it astounding, so that they can, benefit or benefit their investors and benefit people who are going to invest in the project. But then here comes a big question for you. Why is the LP farming for Forever Token? I mean, why is it different? How's it different from any other? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's the most important question, right? Because as I said, there are many farms out there. The problem with the farms out there is they all are kind of cookie cutter, copy and paste code from the original Pancake Swap, or I should say Uniswap, DeFi farming. That's the same exact code everybody uses. They all just copy Uniswap. So the problem with that is that's outdated at this point. There's just a lack of innovation in the space, and too many projects are minting tokens to pay their farm rewards, so they can give huge APYs and look really attractive, but the token price decline happens faster than your APY is paying you out. So you're never really going to make up for the difference there. In addition to that, there's another thing that people do is they'll create a limited supply, so no minting, but they'll put 1% or 2% on the decentralized exchange, and they'll put the rest in the farming pool. So it has the same impact on the chart as if they were minting. They don't technically mint, so they get to say there's no mint function and look good on the audits and things like that, but they're still doing the same thing by nature, because they're starting with a very small amount in circulation and expanding that amount very, very quickly. So yes, your APY looks good, but the price of the token is going to go down because people sell rewards. It just happens. So when you take a look at that and you say, well, that's not sustainable, how do you create something that's sustainable? So what I did was completely different. I got my team and I was like, look, guys, you guys, I have this idea in my head. Let's see how we can make this thing work. So I started talking about Forever Farm about a year ago with my development team that we have. And we started really digging in and coding about 6 months ago and fine-tuning everything. So it's been a long time coming. And what we're able to do is we designed not just a farming contract that's customized. We designed a token contract to work with it. We also created the NFT and joined the NFT game to build this ecosystem around driving the APY. So it's sustainable. So it doesn't just disappear one day, and hence the name Forever Farm. So at any time, I can actually push a button and pump the price of the token. When I push that button and the token price pumps, it also increases the APY of the farming pool, so rewarding those LP providers for providing liquidity, like we talked about earlier. So it's kind of a nice win-win. In addition, every single time somebody mints an NFT or trains an NFT for the NFT game, it creates automatic buybacks of Forever Farm from the market, from PancakeSwap, and sends those tokens to the APY reward pool for the liquidity providers. So again, what that does is creates another way to continuously drive up the rewards, drive up the APY payouts without creating this negative impact on the supply. It's driving the price up instead of down like all the other farms do, while also driving the APY up to go along with it. Other farms rely on all sorts of different things, right? Minting is a big one. Reserved supplies are another big one, but not too many of them have an actual ecosystem with utility outside of farming. Some will get creative and just create a second or a third token that now you farm for this one and you earn that one, and then you farm that and you earn this one. It's all the same thing. Eventually, how many tokens can you farm? You're going to be doing 50 different tokens on here in order to sustain any rewards. So we wanted to solve that problem, and it took us a little while to figure it out.
That's pretty great. So there's this question that has been coming up in a group chat, and I think someone was asking how profitable is yield farming. What will you say about that?
So not all yield farms are created equal. That's what I can say about that. So right now, our daily APR is about 2.99%. So that's pretty good, right? And that's in Forever Farm tokens. So if the Forever Farm token price continues to increase like it has been since launch, I mean, we've been actually pretty stable even while the rest of the market's been dumping, which is wild to see. But we're also still paying that 2.99%, and that's a very, very solid return on investment, knowing that it's a good, solid, sustainable project, right? 2.99% is like what you see with some of those crazy Ponzi's that that will never be around for more than a week or a week and a half, and you just try to make a couple bucks and get out. This is some wild APR on a proven ecosystem with smart contracts running the show. So it's much different than everything else that you're seeing out there.
That's great. I mean, I have actually seen how things have been around Forever Farm. I've been there since the day it launched and stuff like that. So it's something really, really amazing. And I have been advising a couple of people that you don't see this everywhere, right? So it's something that once you see project coming up with such an idea and the team are so transparent and willing to help you, I mean, why not hold on to it and and take advantage of the opportunity rather than you could get the gem play and that's not even safe. But I mean, I really love the fact that you guys are building this amazing idea and trying to help people here. Then we all know that you had a partnership with Kano. So I mean, what's the benefit and how is it helping the Forever Farm?
Yeah, thanks for asking, right? Because Candlesphere is actually it was actually my first ever project. So it's been out for over a year and a half now. So hence what I was talking about earlier, when you see people that have long-term successful projects, your risk factor starts decreasing in their next projects, right? Why would I ever risk what I've built over there for a couple BNB in a project like this? So it starts helping you paint the picture. But what Candlesphere does is it creates utility for any project out there. So luckily for us, Forever Farm has built-in utility with the farming. But we wanted to add additional utility. And how we did that was through the NFT battle game that Candlesphere opened up for any Binance Smart Chain project out there. So we joined that game and we go head to head against AutoRise and Kennel and soon to be more projects in the NFT battle game. Users can actually win BNB both actively and passively through the NFT battle game, which is really cool to see happen as well. And those NFT interactions, again, just drive buybacks and additional rewards, so increased price and increased APY for the ecosystem. So we've really worked with Candlesphere to design this huge ecosystem of use cases that are all working together seamlessly, and again with smart contracts. So it doesn't take a lot of people pushing buttons to have these utilities work together. It happens automatically. The second somebody mints an NFT in the same block, it buys Forever Farm tokens and sends them to the APY reward pool. It's all happening immediately, instantly through smart contracts. So the partnership with Kennel has been absolutely great. It's going to be even more to come, right? If you go on kennelsphere.com, you can see a farming section coming soon. Perhaps there's something there since Forever Farm is a big partner of Kennel. Maybe there'll be a little tie in there, right? Little hint. So there's going to be more and more of that. And as more projects join Candlesphere's ecosystem, it brings more eyeballs onto all the projects in the ecosystem. So it just brings more and more value to all the different projects on there. So yeah, working with Candlesphere is great because again, it can be trusted. It's been around for a long time. It's like our core dev team is kind of running the show over there as well. And it just makes it where we can have an easy, smooth, multi-use case ecosystem.
That's great. That's pretty amazing. We can. I mean, people. This is getting people curious about. You have the V2 for the farming reward. How is it better than the V1?
So what I always like to say is innovating is hard, right? It's so much harder to build something that nobody else has ever done. It's so much easier to do what everybody else does out there, and that's just copy the code that somebody else built a long time ago because it's tested and audited, and you don't have to do too much. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be an actual developer to do that. So we did things differently, right? We build stuff. So with that does come the ability and need to evaluate things in real time when they hit the real world and pivot and make changes accordingly. So one of the things that we saw in the V1 farming was the gas fees were starting to get very expensive very quickly because of how fast the APY was updating, and every update on a blockchain requires gas. So just, to keep the technical stuff out of it, there was a lot happening on the contract, and it wasn't optimized exactly the way that it could be. It is extremely difficult to mirror that in testing because we didn't have, 80 different wallets claiming stuff every couple minutes. So it was extremely hard to mirror that in testing. But what we were able to do is see that very quickly. We fixed it over the weekend, right? We launched on Friday. The contract, the farming was fixed and updated and deployed on Monday, right? So it did not take very long for it to get fixed. In addition to that, what we're doing is everybody that migrates from V1 to V2 successfully, we're going to go ahead and be doing an airdrop of Forever Farm tokens next week for them to try to say, thanks for the migration. Sorry about that. And here's some Forever Farm tokens to help pay for the additional gas that you incurred in the process.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that pretty amazing? Because you were able to compensate them for probably maybe most of their losses and stuff like that. I just wanted you to clarify that because a couple of people who got involved here into the private sale, they were kind of curious, and I just wanted you to bring that point out and let them know, what's the idea of the V2. Yeah, that's great. So yeah, let's proceed. I can see that there's gonna be an NFT. So can you explain a bit more about the NFT involvement in Forever Farm?
Yeah, so if you are in the Forever Farm community already, you'll actually see every once in a while, you see these little NFTs pop up saying the winner won this much BNB and all of those things. So what that is, that's the NFT battle game. So again, there's Forever Farm NFTs as part of the Kennel Sphere Kennel Combat battle game. Every single time somebody mints one of those NFTs or trains one of those Forever Farm NFTs for the game, it creates buybacks and increased APY because those tokens that got bought back get sent right to the APY reward pool. So it's a fun use case for the users, right? Because what they get to do is earn BNB. These NFTs are earning BNB actively and passively through the game. We've had some of these NFTs already for the game that are up almost at 3 BNB in lifetime earnings right now for an NFT that costs about 0.1 BNB. So there's been some amazing returns on the NFTs, in addition to just the help that creates for the ecosystem as well.
That's great. Most NFTs are being incorporated in project, and most of them really don't have value to the project. But with this, I can say it's something pretty amazing. I want to ask you this generic question, and I'm gonna try to bring out the wisdom I'm asking you this. When CMC Rick, So in other words, when marketing, what are the plans for you to, for Forever Farm? What are the plans for marketing for Forever Farm?
Yeah, so this week we're fully focused on this, right? I want to get in front of communities. I want to have this conversation. I want to be able to answer questions, because when you're doing something that's never been done before, there's a lot of responsibility on you as the project to educate people, not just on what it is, but why it's better and everything in between. So that's what we're doing here. We have 4 AMAs. This is the first of 4 over the next 2 days. So I'm going to be doing a lot of these conversations with different communities out there, making sure that I'm answering all their different questions and all of that, just to make sure that we can help educate. In addition to that, once that's out there, I'm looking at some YouTube ads, some all sorts of stuff, right? There's many different ways to market these things, but the least impactful is going to be random Telegram posts, right? That's cool for your degen meme coin that are going to celebrate a 10x when they had $200 in liquidity. That's not what we are. We're a whole lot different than that. And a 10x on $200 liquidity is not a win for anybody. Would you win $6 on that? Get out of here. So it's understanding that we are going to approach this much differently than most. We're very patient in what we do, because when you're building something long term, you're not in a rush to go and do this. I'm not in a rush to get to $20 million market cap and get the volume spiked and this and that, because I'm not making a bunch off the taxes. I'm not just looking to get this one pump and dump candle on the chart like everybody else is, so they can just go create their next project. What I want to do is completely educate and change the space around DeFi. And if I can help people understand what they're looking at, and not just this project, but every project they're evaluating just a little bit more, then I'm helping. I'm doing my part in the space. So there's going to be a ton of AMAs. There'll be some traditional marketing. There'll be a whole bunch of stuff. Yes, CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko have both been applied for. The check boxes are all there. I'm not in a hurry for either of them, right? Because what all those things are, again, is a pump and dump candle. You don't really get many holders from CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko. You just get a bunch of people that come in, get their 20%, 30%, and leave and wait for the next listing to pop up on their fast alerts that they have on Telegram. Right. So just understanding that we're doing things a lot differently for a reason. And that's because this is all about sustainability. It's all about being here in 6 months and 6 years from now. Right? There's a reason I locked this liquidity 50 years, guys. It's because we don't plan on going anywhere. This is a long-term project. And I know people out there like to use that term long-term project, but to them, long-term is a couple months. Right? To me, long-term is a couple decades. It's as long as we can keep this thing going, as long as BSC is a thing, and as long as there's still demand for what we're offering. We'll continue to innovate. We'll continue to find utilities and make partnerships. But we are not in a rush over here. We're just not.
That's great. I still have some couple of more questions, but I think my co-host here has some questions to ask you. So you can go ahead, Greg.
Hey Rick, I think you've been killing it so far, and I think I'm impressed, by the entire concept of the project. I kind of just have, a couple of questions on my end, before I push it back to Caleb. You've talked about how, the Forever Farm, is different from other LP farmings, and a rough idea that I think I have as regards, LP farming is that, investors pool together their funds. These funds are used as liquidity tokens, and, every decentralized exchange, they charge a certain fee for, platform fees. And out of those fees, all of the liquidity providers are rewarded, a certain fraction out of the fees, generated from each of the liquidity pool. And like you rightly said, not all pools are created equally. Some pools will yield more rewards than the other. And this is the value proposition for all of these other LP farms. But I took a little bit of a dig into Forever Farm, and I kind of struggled to understand the value proposition for the token in itself. I understand how the entire token would, go round, but I also clearly understand that, when it comes to finance, it's basically math. You can't print value from thin air. We've seen, projects do this even in the past and, recently, FTT and all of these things. You can hike up your market cap, do whatnot. But when it comes to how valuable it is, when it does matter, you can't actually, you can't fit that. So I'm trying to understand, where the value for, the Forever Farm, tokens and the reward is going to come from, aside, other investors just getting into, the projects without, it being a complex Ponzi scheme in a sense. Not, I don't think this is a Ponzi scheme. But how does the value proposition works for for Forever Farm?
Yeah, and that's where the ecosystem mentality comes into play, right? So DeFi is one segment of crypto. Then you have NFTs, which is a completely different segment of people that enjoy that, and then play to earn is kind of a segment off of NFTs. So what we've done is already have multiple utilities in multiple segments of the crypto space. So for DeFi lovers, they don't need much more than to have a reason to buy the token than to see the APR of the farm, right? That's the whole point of it. In addition to that, NFT lovers might not even care about the farm. They just want to play the NFT game and get the passive and active BNB from the NFT game. So having both of those work together simultaneously, seamlessly, is extremely, extremely important to us. That's how you create a true ecosystem instead of just one utility that does one thing, another one that does another thing, and they kind of don't work together. Every single piece of what we're doing here is creating more buying pressure via smart contracts. It's also increasing the APY of the LP providing reward pool. Now, when you combine those utilities with the tokenomics of being able to increase the price of the token and increase the APR of the Forever Farm farming app, that is another game-changing aspect of what we can do. So I'm actually going to go ahead and at the end of the AMA, I'm going to do a live price pump for you guys and show you that with the push of a button, we can actually increase the price of Forever Farm tokens. And that happens with no rebase. So there's no token adjustment in your wallet or anything like that, where other projects have had rebase tokens where they can increase the price. So the tokenomics here are completely innovative and never been done. And that's why it's so exciting and why it's so important for me to get out here in front of communities and have these conversations, answer these questions, and ultimately show you guys live on the AMA exactly what we're talking about here. So I greatly appreciate that. And I think if we in the crypto community actually asked ourselves that question before buying into tokens, we would probably not see $100 million market cap meme coins. But the reality is nobody's really looking at the utility of stuff on the grand scheme of things. They're looking at the Elon tweet that just happened and then throwing their BNB at that and wondering why they keep getting rug pulled. So I really appreciate that question and wish more people would ask, not just to people like me, but to themselves before they pull the trigger. Why the hell are we buying these meme coins? Why are we buying stuff with zero use case, zero utility, with funds that unlock in 6 days and the dev has 52 full wallets? Why are we doing that time and time again? So I'm with you right there, Greek, on that one.
Yeah, I think you actually hit the nail on. You answered very correctly. And I was going to ask, how you are going to be able to pump the price, from the push of a button. And I'm glad you mentioned, you are going to, demonstrate it live, on this AMA. Just something that popped, into my head when you mentioned you could pump, the charts, from, just with the push of a button. Yeah, is that how does this is DeFi, and usually, most investors are trying to, get into projects. You sound like a community member who is interested in the growth of DeFi. Not just trying to sell their, product to, investors. So how do you think this factor into, the buyers where, people want less control from, particular individuals over projects, and they favor more automated systems, in cryptocurrency? Do you think this might this might kind of like sway investor sentiments one way or the other?
It might, right? And I'm okay with that, because you can't innovate things if you don't have control over them. You can't adapt to the environment around you if you don't have control over it, right? So in order for any business to succeed long term, it has to be able to adapt to everything that's happening in the space around it and innovate from there. So we won't be giving up control. We're not going to renounce contracts. We're not going to do any of that stuff because we want this to last long term. So in order for that to happen, there has to be somebody that can help it. Now, we're actually going to be introducing community governance through voting rights of the Forever Farm token here very soon. My tech team's working on the governance features right now. So we'll be having that where the community will help guide what comes next, how we adapt and how we move forward. But you need to be able to adapt. Outside of Bitcoin, really, every successful project has the ability to adapt. Look at Ethereum, moving from proof of work to proof of stake. What if they never had that ability, right? What if CZ and Binance didn't have the ability to stop the hack that just happened a couple weeks ago? What would have happened then, right? So we have to understand that, yes, we want to let the smart contracts do their thing, but you also, for any true business, need a team of people that can and have the ability to adapt to the world around them. Things change. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Neither does anybody else on here. But what we do know is if something unforeseen happens, I want the ability to make sure this project doesn't disappear because of it. And that's why I'm so passionate, right? I hate when people renounce contracts. That just shows me that they have no developer skills whatsoever in their body, and they're afraid to put their name and face to something. So they don't care if it disappears tomorrow, and it's very, very obvious. We're the opposite of that. We want to be here for the long run. We know there's going to be things that come our way that we're going to have to overcome, like our V1 contract, right, in the farming contract. Imagine if we didn't have the ability to do what we did. People would be spending $40 to claim, right? This project would have been done. Instead, we have the ability to adapt. We have the ability to innovate and fix things as they come up. And that's not something that I'm ever going to be willing to give up.
That's I think that's a very fair. I think that's a very fair response. I think I'll hand it over to Caleb now.
Yeah, thanks for that. Great stuff. Pretty appreciate that. So I'm gonna ask you more of the question before we can definitely move down to questions from communities. I know lots of them are already waiting and willing to bang with some questions, and to get themselves curious about this. So we all know that you had some partnership with the Kindness Persons. It's actually your first project, but what about partnering with other farming platforms, with education system for farmers to get, involved with crypto or Forever Farm? Have you thought about something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. I'm so passionate. I have had many conversations about the education part to crypto. And that's what makes me have a YouTube channel, and what really got me into talking about it like the way I do right now is because I feel like some people just need to have that conversation to understand what they're getting into. And there's so much technical nonsense out there, and quite frankly, so much BS out there, that it's hard to sift through without having a clear instruction of what you're looking at. So not only are we looking at additional partnerships for the farming application itself, but also for farming communities as well. So there's going to be a lot more to come when it comes to partnerships down the line. But quite frankly, we want to make sure, again, this goes back to us not being in a rush. We want to make sure that the farming contract is working exactly how we want it to, how it's supposed to. It's sustainable. It's doing everything that it's supposed to do in the real world before we start bringing on other projects to utilize that technology. That will be coming, right? There's a coming soon on Kennelsphere Farming for a reason, but I'm not going to push other projects into utilizing that technology for their LP farm until I'm extremely confident that it's working exactly how it's supposed to. So that's where the real world testing, the live testing comes in. And that's kind of the stage we're in right now, is we just launched the V2. So we got to give this a few days, watch people claiming and make sure it's everything's, crossing the T's and dotting the I's the way that it's supposed to. So that way we can feel confident when we talk to those other projects looking to change the way that they're doing their farming.
That's pretty amazing. I was also thinking about, we already mentioned about project dealing with farming. What about launches like ours, because there are things, there are a couple of projects out there that we would like to partner with them because we want to benefit from them in a long period of time, especially when it comes to project dealing with, with great utilities, and it's going to be here for a long period of time as well. So we love working with them. How can they benefit from you as well? Let's say, for example, GOLDDIGGERS, right? GOLDDIGGERS community. How can they benefit from Forever Farm as well?
Yeah, there's a number of different ways, right? So the fact that we're building this ecosystem with Kennelsphere, and it goes back to one project working with and associated with another. And as we build more and more partnerships, maybe they'll have great utilities that projects will want to use. But if we can continuously help projects add use cases, add utilities, give their communities more reason to hold, give their token more true utility, not just some random thing that they're saying because you hold it and you get a reflection or something along those natures. But the more times we can help a project add utility and true use case to its ecosystem, the more likely they are to stick around longer, the less likely they are to run off and rug or anything like that, right? So there's a number of different reasons why we're doing what we're doing and why we're looking to bring as many people into the NFT game or as many projects into the NFT game as possible. Preferably ones that have no previous utility. Let's help them get some utility, right? Let's help them stick around and be more sustainable. Let's get those guys an LP farming pool as well and have the NFT game feed their rewards as well, right? So there's so many different things we can do to help not just Forever Farm, but all the other projects out there. And it's not, I don't look at it like a competition. It goes back to my root of why I love crypto. It's that community, right? It's that bringing the people together and kind of standing up against the man, so to speak. So that is really at the core of everything we're building with the Kennelsphere ecosystem, with Forever Farm, and with anything else that comes out. I try to find ways that we can get other projects to benefit, knowing that if we can help reduce the rugs, because these developers don't know how to create real utility and use cases, then that's great for the space as a whole, right? So I look at things a little bit differently than most. It's not just about Forever Farm or just about Kennelsphere. It's how can this actually impact the entire space for us and just slow down, even if it's just one or two less rugs. That's one or two that we didn't have to watch people lose money in.
That's pretty great. And if every project out there can incorporate this, I think it's going to benefit everyone in the long term. I'm tired of, I believe everybody here is tired of investing on certain projects and within a few minutes it's being work pulled. It's becoming something that it's becoming usual. So we need people who bring out ideas of reducing the scams, these work pulls, and I think in my opinion, Forever Farm, it's something that people should watch out to, I know lots of them might be, well, it's not a quick pump. I can't get my quick 2x. Like the other day when I was having a conversation with a guy on your visa, he was like, well, I'm just here to get quick 2x. And I was like, well, you're just going to wait. So, it shouldn't just be about the quick 2x, but it should be at least about safety at first. How safe is the project and how experienced is the team, and, how have they been involved in other projects before? How were they being able to succeed and stuff like that? I think that should be things we all want to look for. So, and I think that's all of my question for you right now, Rick. So feel free to share with us anything we must not have touched into the community.
Yeah, I think I just want to touch on that, right? Because you said something that's so important, and I think it gets missed in crypto, especially BSC, and especially for newer people. Is everybody's chasing the 10x, right? It's because of the Telegram callers and they're throwing out, 100x. But again, it's 100x on $100 liquidity, right? That's not a lot, guys. And there's not a lot of money to go around. They're just doing that because it's great marketing. It looks good. It feels good. But the first thing you should be doing before you're looking for your profit is securing your capital. You have to protect your initial investment before anything. If you're hunting for 10Xs, you're going to lose more than you win. There's just no way around that. If you're securing your capital and you're making a little, quote unquote, less X's, but you're comfortable putting in more because it's safer, you can make much more in the long run that way than always hunting for the 5, 10, 50, 100 X's and jumping from one scam project to the next scam project. Because what we're seeing in this space, not just BSC, but everywhere, is rug pulls all over the place. And just as common, if not more common now, is the people that are just abandoning. They're just abandoning the project. So it's not technically a rug pull, but they're just not doing anything. So you get one quick pump, one quick dump. The reason for that, guys, here you go, behind the curtain for the developers, is they have the dev taxes, right? They're just making money from that volume. So they pay some callers, they get a big spike, and then they get the big dump. They don't care about the dump. They don't care about the project. They don't care about the price. They care about the volume. They want that big pump, big dump, repeat, and they can be like, my last project did 20X. But where is it today? What did it really do? It didn't do anything. It made you money as the developer, and it made a whole lot of people lose money. Because when you see a pump and dump chart, some people make money, most people lose. That's just how it is. And that's not what this is designed for. And we need to start changing the way we're doing things. We do have control over how developers create and handle projects. If you stop investing in their scams, they'll stop making them. Right? But the fact is, people are so wrapped up trying to chase that quick money, they miss out on actual gains because of it. So, that's just my soapbox, my 2 cents. And it's something, again, it's near and dear to my heart because I too fall for it sometimes. I am a degen at heart. I love to gamble, and it comes out in the crypto space more than I wish. Even so much as leverage trading, right? I mean, just even leverage trading, ETH and BTC, don't do it. Just don't do it. You're going to lose. Unless you're an amazing expert, you're going to lose more than you win.
Well, I myself, I can say much to that as well because I definitely love DJing pretty much back then. I don't joke with it, but I mean, I had to stop because it killed me pretty bad, and I mean, it's a lesson we all have to learn at some point and put our attention and project with having great utilities and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's how far we're gonna go with question for myself. I think it's the right time for us to get question. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, community. You want to raise your hand now, and guys, please ask one question because we have a lot of people who want to get their question answered as well. So I'm going to start with, let's see, OG Benita, you can go ahead. OG Benita?
Can you guys hear me? Sorry.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So I know this is quite early because I don't know if you're ready to display because you said something, I was listening and you said, you would demonstrate how you can increase the price of the token with just one button. And
yes.
I have a question in regards to it. Just before you do the demonstration, generally what comes with farming or adding liquidity generally is impermanent loss. Yeah. So, and now you're not just facing the battle of impermanent loss, you also have the ability to increase the price of the token, which is even way more riskier because it can lead to even more impermanent loss. Because when you increase the price of your token at will and there is a lesser liquidity compared to the price it was being increased to, that means some people get their fund, like their capital, or lost in the pool.
So that's why it's important to understand the math behind it, right? So absolutely right. And not just go and pump things 100%. You got to be smart about it, and you got to make sure the APY that they're earning in the farm is greater than what you're pumping, right? So your APY always has to outpace any impermanent loss for it to make sense.
Maybe I'm getting it wrongly, because increasing the APY means they get more tokens, right? For the people farming. Or you mean something else?
That's correct. So that increases the rewards for the farming pool, correct?
Increases the reward for the farming pool. It doesn't add to the liquidity. So it's just like saying you want to increase the APY, at the same time you want to increase the price of the token. It's like doubling the risk, like the risk of impermanent loss.
Yeah, it's really not, because what's happening is you also have the rest of the ecosystem working to create buy pressure, right, which adds additional liquidity. And that's where the additional liquidity tokens come from, the sell tax as well. So it's important that, and if you look at the taxes, that's why there's a 12% sell tax all going to liquidity, to ensure that there's still some good liquidity in there. And it obviously, if you're pumping so much that you're running out of BNB, you're not being responsible with the power. With great power comes great responsibility. So yes, you do increase the price, and you do increase the APY of the farming. In addition, anytime somebody is buying the NFT or trading the NFT, it also does buybacks from the market, increases the APY as well. So there's multiple ways that the APY gets increased. And if more people want to come and take advantage of that higher APY, they have to add more liquidity, right? So it's a delicate balance between pumping as well as new farmers. So that's where the education piece, bringing people in, having them play the game, having them, ask these questions, for example, and making sure that they truly understand what the ecosystem mentality does. Because it's much more than just a farm that can magically mint new tokens, right? Because we're not minting anything, which that's a huge issue when people are minting tokens for farming rewards. We have multiple utilities all driving both the price and the APY. So it's not just one little thing, it's looking at the entire ecosystem as a whole.
Okay, so let's say you have a 12%, because for me right now, I think the solution is saying we have 12% going directly into liquidity. So that means you should not be able to, from the way you coded your contract, or from the way you paired your liquidity, like the price of your token in the pancake swap or in whatever swap, you shouldn't be able to automatically increase the price beyond a 12% level, I guess. Yes.
Exactly. You have to, and that's where the delicate balance comes in, right? You don't want to go crazy with it, because that's when you start having the negative impact. If you pump it too much, it just creates too much incentive as well for people to want to dump it, right? If you pump this thing 40% right now, people are going to be selling rewards and pulling their liquidity and selling, and it just creates a firestorm in the opposite direction. So having the ability to do something and being responsible about it, I think, have to go hand in hand. Understanding that it's about long-term growth, longevity of the project, and not just today's chart or tomorrow's chart. Because there's projects out there right now, I'll even put it out there, right? ForeverFarm just got listed on CoinGecko, but they have 50% of the BNB in liquidity that they had just yesterday, because they're using some of the tokenomics that we used on Auto Rise months and months ago. But they're doing it at a very reckless pace. They're not responsible. I actually tried to reach out to their dev to help them out, and I got banned. So it's one of those things where you have to understand exactly what you're doing. And the scary part is, a lot of these guys, again, aren't true devs, and they're not really thinking long term with it. They're just thinking about how they can get the next meme or the next hype for the taxes that they're getting from the volume. And that's the unfortunate reality.
So I like the fact that you understand what's involved and the risk involved as well, and how you have to be very ready to be in control of how much you increase and decrease, because people might want to take advantage of it. So I think you answered my question. Thank you.
Glad to hear it. Thank you.
Thanks for that, OJ. Up next, we have Moonshine. Moonshine, you're muted.
Hi, Rick. Hi, Caleb. Thank you very much for the opportunity. So my question is actually about how they intend to control the volume of game players who will be playing their game. And in the sense of, you said we can earn BNB, and I'm actually curious, why did you not choose your tokens? And the reason why I'm asking is because if you are choosing your tokens and I'm playing your game and I want to purchase in-game items or weapons that I'll be using for the combat game, I can easily swap the tokens to get those items, and the tokens is going back to the project. And also, this would, since you're saying we'll be earning in BNB, this would increase the amount of people who would be playing your game. So I want to know how and why you chose that system.
Yeah, so if you give BNB if you give tokens as a reward in the game, what you're doing now is creating additional sell pressure instead of additional buy pressure. So what we've done is we've implemented the automatic buybacks through the game. So every time somebody plays the game, it's now buying tokens instead of selling tokens. So I would much rather have a game creating buy pressure on a project than sell pressure on a project.
Okay, so when I want to purchase in-game items or maybe weapons or things I would use to play the game, so I would be giving you BNB, or do I need to swap to your Forever Farm tokens to purchase these items?
All NFT minting is done in BNB. So you would mint in BNB. Part of that BNB goes to the BNB rewards for the game, and the other part is used for buybacks of Forever Farm or Kennel or whatever the partner project token is. So that's where it creates buy pressure. If you did the reverse and you were taking the Forever Farm token or the Kennel token for the minting of the BNB, in order to get rewards and or anything like that, it would be instead of buybacks, it would be creating sells on the market. We actually tested that prior to. That was kind of our envision for the game as well, as like, let's use the token as what they mint with. But we saw quickly what happens is you have holders of a token, and now they have a bunch of tokens, and they can just go mint, and it just crushes the chart, because now it's all sorts of sell pressure happening from that. So where if you flip that and they mint, now it's creating buy pressure, and it's actually increasing the price of your token instead of decreasing it.
Okay, I totally understand. Thank you very much. So the other part of the question was about the NFTs. Would there be rarities of the NFTs? And if you say any holder of the NFT can then play the game, saying it's BNB, there will be mass volume of game players in the project. How many NFTs do you guys have in mind to mint at a go, and how do you intend to keep the value, since you're saying that because of the BNB rewards, so many players would be involved in the game?
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it. So the NFTs are already out. So it's not hypothetical. They're already out, able to be minted right now. And how it works is they started at 0.1 BNB per NFT, and they increase by 0.01 BNB every 10 mints. So as the more and more are minted and more players are joining, the NFTs are actually increasing in price. So that puts more and more money into the reward pool. That creates larger buybacks of the token. And that also increases the value of the previous minted NFTs, right? Because you bought them lower, but they can't mint them for as cheap as you did if you were early in the project. So that is, again, part of an ecosystem mentality of how it can all start working together. In addition to that, for your rarity question, you can train up any NFT to make it more powerful. There are specific attributes that are not trainable, such as the critical chance. So if you get a critical chance on these NFTs of 60%, which is the max, that is like a legendary NFT. That's the one attribute that you cannot change. Also, the minted level is very, very important as well, because you can mint a level 1 or you can mint a level 125, and you can level up the levels, but that takes a lot of battles and experience. So if you mint a level 125 NFT with 60 critical, that's a very strong NFT and likely one you're going to want to train up and use that for battling. Each NFT can battle one time per day to avoid one strong NFT just over, battling and draining the reward pool. So that means if people are liking it, they can create multiple NFTs. Many of our players are averaging between 5 and 10 NFTs each right now and battling them on a daily basis. So it's definitely something that is scalable based on the increasing price of the NFTs. And as new projects enter into the game, their NFTs are going to be a little bit less expensive than the other projects already existing in the game, which will then have, again, a partnership ecosystem effect where other players will look at that project and see if it's worth them minting those NFTs since they're less expensive. So it all works together to try to build something that's a lot different than what others are doing out there in the space.
All right. Thank you very much for explaining. Thank you so much, Caleb.
Thanks for that, Moonshine. Great stuff. Up next, we have Paragon. Paragon, you're muted, buddy.
Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Thanks for the opportunity. I really want to say that I'm happy that you have a way of curbing that impermanent loss, because it's one of the issues that one do face in this kind of project. So my question is about that NFT you made mention the other time. Like, is it possible for one to sell that particular NFT? And if yes, if I sell that particular NFT, will it still retain those attributes that was gotten during training in that buyer's wallet?
Yeah, great question. So yes, you can actually list really any NFT you want on those third-party NFT marketplaces. So that you can always do that as long as the NFT is transferable, and we have enabled them to be transferable for that reason. So that's very, very, very good question. In addition, we're working on something in-house that could make it so you don't have to go to a third-party company to sell that NFT. And yes, the NFT itself has the attributes. So if it is transferred from one ownership to another, the attributes follow. So if you mint an NFT, train it up nice and strong, then you can sell that at a premium. That is not a bad strategy as well to potentially make a little bit of profit on the side.
Okay. Thank you very much for the clarity. Thanks, Caleb.
Thanks for that, Paragon. Great question. Let's go ahead and get a question from, let's see, I haven't called before. Okay, it's been a while. I heard from Vivian. Vivian, go ahead and ask your question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Ask your question.
All right. My question is in regards to the gaming aspect. I've noticed that most GameFi projects, which I have invested in always have this leaderboard or something called an MVP, which is most important player features. Now, would want to know if you guys will be implementing such in your game, like giving a reward for the most best player, maybe in a weekly or timely basis. And would you also clarify me if the NFT being purchased for the game gives one a limited or unlimited usage?
Yeah, perfect. So first I'll answer yes. They can only battle actively, fight one time per day. But you can be selected by the blockchain randomly, unlimited times per day. Just depends how lucky you are. So limited on how many times you can actively fight, unlimited as to how many times you can play passively and be selected by the blockchain. So that's a good question and important to understand the difference there. In addition to that, the leaderboard, so you can actually see a leaderboard style right now. If you go to the scan fighters aspect, you can sort by number of wins or amount of B&B won or total battle battles, all sorts of great filters over there. And we are developing as well some tournament style stuff where you'll be able to select some of your strongest NFTs and enter a tournament. So there's going to be a lot of stuff around the leaderboards and extra play opportunities in all of that very, very soon as well. So we have a lot coming with the game. The game has been out now, I would like to say a month and a half or so, with just the last few weeks of allowing other projects to join the game. So it's still in its baby stages as well, but I'm inviting more and more Binance Smart Chain projects over that want utility, that want to give something to their community that is tangible and is actually worth something other than just a cool name in a hyped Telegram channel. So I'll be continuously doing that, and as that happens, there'll be more and more things that get developed from AMAs like this, ideas from the community, ideas from project owners. One thing about us is we understand that we're not the only smart people in the room. We need to listen to others. We need to take some advice. We need to hear their ideas. And sometimes the best ideas in the world aren't ones that I came up with. It's ones others came up with. So yes, there'll be a whole lot of innovation coming.
All right, that's a clear answer. Thank you. Thanks, Kelly, for the opportunity.
You're welcome, Vivian. Let's get a question from David Johnson. I haven't heard you speak before. David, your mic is unmuted.
Hey Caleb and hey Rick, what's up?
Hello, hello.
Very good.
Okay, my question is, I was wondering about suppose in case of network connection, I lost while playing the Camel Spare NFT combo game. So will the game auto save the game level when connection is restored again?
All right, so I'll be nice, but that's a very copied AMA question that I hear in every single AMA, but I will answer it anyway. But come on, guys, think of new questions that are project specific. This is a NFT game that uses the blockchain, so it's not some combination of Web 2, Web 3, and blockchain. It's 100% blockchain based, so your network connection doesn't matter when it comes to the blockchain. If you either hit commit on your MetaMask in time or you didn't hit commit on your MetaMask in time. So has no bearing on your network connection.
Okay, thanks for the answering, and thanks Caleb for the opportunity.
Thanks, Jason. Welcome to GOLDDIGGERS. All right, let's get a question from CC Jeters. CC Jeter, you're muted.
Thank you very much, Caleb. I really appreciate the opportunity here. So actually, I was listening to the project, and then I noticed what he said when he was talking about people dumping the smart contract, renouncing smart contract and all, and then abandoning the project. I have two questions basically, but I'm just gonna ask one. So it's about the NFT game. So these NFT games that you have, it's on the blockchain, and a couple of people will see that it's going to run smoothly. But I wanted to talk about the user experience. What are the strategies you're going to make to ensure that whenever users are able to make transactions based on their NFTs, they're trying to buy some NFTs and then use it in the game, they don't have this transaction error or this 404 error or whatever during the process of transaction? That would determine the kind of like servers you use. So like, what kind of servers do you use? How many servers do you have? And how do we store local storage? How do you manage local storage? This will also help the smooth running of the game. And then whenever people try to make transactions, whenever there's traffic coming into the game to make transactions, it's not going to affect the game, right? So can you explain the strategy of the game?
So we use enterprise level GoDaddy hosting software. So it's not some cheap $9.99 a month hosting that you see out there. In addition to that, it's important to understand. Again, this is a blockchain based game. This is not something that just uses blockchain technology for in-game purchases and is a blend of that. So understanding what it is at its core will help actually answer a lot of those questions. So it is a blockchain-based NFT versus NFT battle game based on the stats, similar to like a Pokemon-style battle game. Okay, so there's not some screen that pops up where you're pushing a bunch of buttons and playing the game with 1,000 other people at the same time. It's 100% blockchain based. So all you have to do is be able to load the website up, click a couple buttons, hit confirm on MetaMask, and you're playing the game. It's happening on the blockchain by itself. So I wanted to make sure we're clear on that so there's no confusion. There is a big difference in some of these quote unquote not really blockchain games out there. The majority of them are barely using blockchain technology, and that's where things get a little tricky, right? That's where you open yourself up to more susceptible to hacks and exploiters and things that come with every single game out there. And we wanted to avoid any of that stuff. So everything is based on the blockchain. Now, since it's all based on the blockchain, it's up to us to try to make it more visually appealing and things like that. So we do have some animations that are being developed right now. So when you're waiting for your transaction to confirm, maybe there's a little battle scene that plays and things of that nature to make it feel more beautiful, so to speak, when you after you hit the confirm button on your MetaMask. But the game itself does not require huge server capacity. No storage capacity is required because it's all blockchain based. There's no part of the game outside of the NFT images, which is how it works for blockchain. So,
thank you very much. You know, it's pretty awesome to see that. Yeah, it's on the blockchain. But I was actually thinking, like as you said, it's based on the blockchain. You know, these games, it's not like blockchain, like it wasn't created with blockchain, right? It was created with programming languages, right? Like Java, Kotlin, and the rest of them. You know, a lot of these, I would say, these games, yeah, they're made with programming languages. So, you know, I'm a developer, so that's why I'm saying this. And then perhaps you may face bugs during the perhaps you may have this problem with the programming language or some update going on or maintenance. You know, you have to maintain your website like perhaps per month or per week or per year, whatever. You know, maintenance is very important. So it's kind of like really wanted user experience when performing transaction. That's why I wanted to know about how smoothly your game will run and transaction. But as you said, because it's based on the blockchain, it will be really easy to make transactions, and then to have errors will be slim, and that's pretty awesome. I like that strategy. Well done.
Thank you. I appreciate the feedback.
Thanks for that, CCJs. I think I saw young investor raising his hand earlier. I think he was the one saying something about the blacklist function. So I saw him raise his hand earlier. I'm just trying to see if I can get him. Oh, I think his hand is down. All right, we're gonna move on then.
I'll talk. I want to. Somebody asked about that. I don't like to avoid questions, especially what people think might be hard questions to answer. So I want to make sure we talk about that. So is there a blacklist feature in the contract? Yes, there is. Okay. And that goes to what I mentioned earlier about you have to have control over certain aspects of it. What happens if there's some exploit? What happens if somebody out there figures out how to do something they shouldn't do and we don't have that feature? The project's dead. So instead of a rug, you got rugged by a hacker. Now, everybody's like, oh, I don't join any projects with a blacklist feature. You do, because CZ himself has a blacklist feature in BNB. He has the ability to pause the blockchain completely and stop all trading like he's already done. So no, I'm not CZ and I'm not the owner of Binance. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to stop things from crushing and crippling any business that you're going to have. And that's what this is at the end of the day. This is a business, right? This is a long-term project. The project is just a slang word for business, and it has to be run just like that. You have to have fail safes and safeguards in place in case unforeseen things happen. And that's where it comes down to, if you really think that I'm going to use a blacklist function to stop you from selling for what, 100 BNB, I'm sorry guys, this isn't the project for you, right? Go ahead to Santa Floki and see how that plays out. I'm not shy about that at all, and I want everybody to understand I'm not going to avoid that question. I'm going to answer it as truthfully as I can and make sure that everybody understands it's there for a reason. If tomorrow something gets exploited and PancakeSwap's exploited or a farm's exploited, anything happens in software, right? Things happen. And we don't have that ability to stop it from crippling the project. The blacklist feature being there isn't what hurt us. It's the blacklist feature not being there that hurt us. So you either have to choose to trust or not trust the project. There's a million different ways that people can rug you. You either have to trust the project or not, trust the team or not. And again, that's where you have to accept the fact that every single project out there has risk. You have to decide if this is a calculated risk for you or not. Is the reward greater than the risk? What are the odds that something like that is done maliciously versus not? And only you can answer that question for yourself. Everybody is going to have a different outlook on it. I'll happily have a conversation back and forth with anybody that wants to have that conversation. But again, it's the same way that I look at renounced contracts, is if you don't have something in place to fix a problem when it occurs, are you really looking at it long term? And we are, and that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I love the fact you definitely explained that in case any other people here might still be having that idea about the blacklist function, because people always tend to see a contract having a blacklist function as a scam, some work pools and stuff. I think that was one of his main concerns, which I definitely understand. But I love the fact you already explained that. So, if you still getting scared of getting involved with, a Forever Farm, I don't think it's pretty late for you to do that. And for those who pretty got involved in the pre-sale, these are more reason why you want to keep holding, because it's really here to stay, and it's something that's going to benefit you as well. So I'm gonna get one more question then, because I know you're going to be having me pretty soon as well.
So one more question, Caleb. I would like to say, hey guys, if you like what you hear and you want to take part in our pump, because I am going to do a live pump after we answer the last question here for you guys. So this is your 1, 2, 3 minute warning that if you wanted to go to PancakeSwap and scoop up a couple Forever Farm and take advantage of it before I pump it, this is your opportunity to do so. I want to make sure I give you that so you don't have to buy in after I pump it.
Yeah, I think somebody was asking me that. A-Line was like, I don't believe him. I don't believe he's gonna do the bomb. I was like, oh, let's watch and see. All right. Okay. Let's get a last question from. I think I saw. Okay, let's get a question from Weber. Weber, you're muted. Rebel?
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. All right. So I wanted to ask, holding the NFTs on the gaming platform, can I select who to play this game using referrals, and can I also communicate with them while playing the game?
So there's no referral currently. We are looking into ways that we could implement a potential referral system, but unfortunately, so many referral systems get abused, right? And people just start referring themselves and referring to fake users, and it's a whole thing that happens out there with the referral system. So we're trying to figure out the right way to do it without putting the project in jeopardy from ill actors. And then, yeah, you can always communicate with people while playing the game because we have our awesome Telegram community where you can chat with people. So this is not a live action game. Again, it's an NFT game that uses the blockchain. So you're not going to talk to them while you're battling them. The battle takes approximately 3 seconds, which is how long it takes for the block to confirm, and then you're good to go. So, but yeah, you can always come over and talk your trash in the Kennelsphere chat.
And also, as a way to get people to get glued in the platform, like on the game and stuff, would there be an offline mode, like for the game, where one can just play the game for fun?
No offline mode. Since it's a blockchain game, there's no such thing as offline.
Okay. Thanks for answering my question.
Yeah, thanks for that, Rebel. All right, I think that's how far we can go with the question. And I mean, if you guys are still having more questions to ask about the project, I know with Pretty Raw, he's always having time on his face. He loves chatting with his community. You can always go over there and pop and have a chat with him. You don't have to be a crypto expert. He's ready to educate you as well, and you all benefit from each other. And like I said, there's still enough time for you to check out. If you haven't gotten involved yet, like I said, always do your own research as well. I'm not gonna force anyone to buy in, but if you haven't checked them out as well, you want to do so as well, it's something that's worth looking forward to as well. So I think that's how far we can go with the question. So before you're gonna do the live bomb week, is there any final word or like a quick of action you want to give to the
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for inviting me over here. It was a great time chatting with you. Had a blast. And again, I invite you to come hang out in the Forever Farm, Kennelsphere, or any of my other communities because, quite frankly, I'm so passionate about crypto that I just love talking about it. Right? Whether if it's a great green day like we saw so long ago, or a horrible bloody market like we're in today. So I just love the community aspect of what we do. And at my core, that's why I've created any project, right? I've actually lost money personally on every single project I've ever made because it's not about that for me. It's about creating a safe place for you guys, about trying to help change this space for the greater good. I get paid a lot of money for my YouTube videos from these projects to talk about their projects. I don't need to make money off of the tax or off of these projects. I just don't. I do it because I'm passionate about it, and I want to give you guys a safe place to play, so to speak, in this Binance Smart Chain and Ethereum blockchain. So I try to do what I can to help the communities. I appreciate you guys for inviting me to yours. And again, maybe we'll see you in the Forever Farm chat. Watch the chart. So I tried to post a link in there, so he got me for it. The bot slapped me, so thanks for not slapping me. In the latest post here from the Gold Diggers calls, you can see the DEX Tools chart. So I suggest you go ahead and click that chart because it's going to be time to go ahead and pump right here, right now, live in action. So I'm going to go ahead and pump this chart for you guys. Boom, boom, ba-da-da-dum. So 145.02 was the price on DEX Tools. 145.02. And just like that, we are 151.6. So congratulations, we just pumped 6 cents. See how easy that is? So also the APY for the farmers has been increased from that as well. So it's a win-win situation when you have the ability to do that. Keep the price healthy for everybody. Keep the APY healthy for everybody within reason, right? I can't go and pump this thing to $10 today. It's just unacceptable to do. So we'll continuously be adding more use case, more utility, more AMAs, bringing more eyes to the project, and making sure that we're doing everything in our power to continue to grow. So again, thank you, Gold Diggers. I appreciate the time with you guys today. It's been a whole lot of fun.
Thank you so much, Wake. Before you go, I want to ask a quick question. I mean, regards to everyone here, is it that you're gonna be pumping the chat every AMA you're gonna be having, probably now or in the future?
Not sure about the future, but the next few, yeah, just so people can see it, right? But again, I have to balance that with the liquidity coming in, and there's a lot of things that I think about prior to pushing that magic button. With great power comes great responsibility. I got to make sure we're doing it the right way. One of the things that I look at is are people dumping as soon as I push that button? Because if so, it makes me much less likely to continuously push that button, right? So I look at a whole lot of things. But for the next couple AMAs, we'll be doing little pumps here and there just to kind of show off the contract. And then once word kind of spreads and people realize like, oh, wow, he really can do that, I won't have to do it as frequently because quite frankly, the rewards right now are extremely healthy for LP providers. So we don't need to pump that too much right now in order to give them some great rewards.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Well, I'm enjoying my reward, and I believe a couple of people are doing so as well. All right, thank you so much, Rick. It was actually great having you here on Gold Digger, and please feel free to share any further information about Forever Farm with my community. We really love that as well. Great stuff, buddy.
I appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording.